When you get that card in the mail for jury duty, should you show up? Well, that's what this video is all about. First of all, if you're new to the channel, this channel is all about blades. I was going to do a video on the cold steel Gurkha cookery. I was going to chop up some wood. I'm going to do that tomorrow and do a complete field test on this. I don't have the time right now, but really more importantly, when I do a video, I like to do what's most compelling to me at the moment. And when I was at lunch today, two young girls and their mother, they were ages like 8 and 10 years old, and their mother were having lunch and they're having a good time, and a story came to mind. This is a powerful story, so hang in there. If you're new to the channel, we talk about everything. From 5.56, I don't know if you've even seen this one. This is a rifle, not the SWAT version. This is a full 5.56. We talk about everything. We also speak about 1911s and dozens and like 100 different guns. So this is a firearm channel, but we're called Weapons Education. I like to throw variety into it. Now remember, this video is on one specific topic. When you get the card in the mail to report to jury duty, should you go? And I'm going to tell you an amazing story that has to do with me. My name is Tom, as you know. For all you new subscribers, I want you to know a little bit more about myself. And this story changed my life. My wife is here and she's going to interact with me a little bit. Say hello.
Hi everybody.
Now, do you remember the day when I got that card in the mail? It was before we had children, right?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to look in the camera and be very realistic now. When you get that card to report to jury duty, now I'm talking about the United States. I'm not too familiar with laws with our allies across the world, but I'm assuming that your court systems have something similar to what we have in the United States. And this video is not about, do you like the court system or not? Do you like the DA or not? Do you like the state attorney? That's not what this is about. Believe me, I think the court systems, they kind of need a lot of work right now. Look what happened to O.J. Simpson. His first one back was at 95 or so, where he got off. Amazing. That's where this is going, though. I actually think if I didn't report on this day, the whole future of multiple lives would have changed. This is a cool story, so hang in there. Now, it was about 8 years ago, right? You and my girlfriend, right? I got the card, yes?
Yes, you sure did. Yeah,
And I got the card, and I said, "Oh, I don't want to do this next November, whatever date it was, 16th at 7 a.m. at the Fort Lauderdale Courthouse, Broward County, Florida. I don't want to miss work and get up so early and go to court. You want to wear your suit. I didn't want to go. 4 times prior, I got to be honest, throughout my life prior. 2 times I went, and I think about 2 times I kind of skated out of it somehow. Doctor's note, whatever. I didn't get it in the mail, I didn't go. Wrong thing to do. So this question here is, when you get a card to show up, should you go, yes or no? When you get that mail, should you show up for jury duty? Well, here's my story, and enjoy it, because it's a powerful, powerful story. I get the card, I don't want to go, but I reluctantly go. I'm glad I did. Show up at 7, whatever I am, and it's like a lottery system. I'm thinking, all right, I'll be in and out of here in 1 hour, because there's like 400 of us there, and they're narrowing it down for some important trial, and they only wanted 6 jurors. So I'm thinking, all right, out of all these people, there's no way. Lottery, bing, 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 bing. All of a sudden they narrowed it down to like 30 people. Now it's 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and I'm one of the 30 people just by lottery, not by nothing else, just by like a bingo type thing. So I'm like, well, I've been here so long, I think I kind of want to get picked for this thing. This is a big deal. And after this long now, it's been here 5-6 hours. Well, then they narrowed it down to 20, and I'm still in the little pool. I'm like, all right, I might as well get picked. I came, I'm doing all this. Well, now what they do is they bring us in a room, a courtroom, and you have the state and you have the defense. And they get to cross-examine those 20 potential jurors and narrow it down to 6 plus 1 is the situation I was in. 6 plus an alternative. And I'm thinking, at this point, I want to get picked. I've been here, it's like 3:30 now, I want to get picked. Been here all day. I want to, they wouldn't even tell me what the trial was all about. So what they did was they asked questions to all of us. One of the questions was, what do you feel about children? What do you feel about law enforcement? What do you feel about this, that, and the other? They were trying to look at people's morals. The state, this is the state's questions. And of course, the defense asks you different types of questions, hoping you're more of like a liberal type person, more lenient. So I answered the questions the way you know I would. Told them my father was injured in the line of duty, and I almost, whenever I talk about that story, I get a little choked up. And when I said that to the state, I kind of knew that I was going to be picked, because they said the girl was a female state attorney, and she goes, "What is your feeling on law enforcement?" I said, "Well, my father was paralyzed in line of duty. My uncle, his brother, was killed in the line of duty. My brother-in-law is a cop. All my cousins, relatives are all cops." She looked at me and she goes, "Okay." And then I got cross-examined by the defense, and I felt like, all right, maybe I got a good chance of being part of the 6. And sure enough, I got to move quick with this story because it's a great story. It got brought down to, yes, I was part of the 6. Well, now it's 4 o'clock, 4:30 or so, and they said, all right, you 6, you're the juries, you're the jurors, and this one person was an alternate in case someone screws up during the trial. Well, all right, well, what's it all about now? Okay, now that we're all picked, what's it all about? Oh, by the way, I'm the foreman on top of it. Now they made me the foreman. Whatever, all right? So, okay, I'm the foreman. And, okay, well, this is about 2 girls, true, right, honey? Yes?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Was it an amazing experience for myself?
Yeah, it was a horrific tragedy. It's a terrible story, but
But it turned out to be a good ending.
Sure,
I think I made a
definitely.
difference.
I
Listen
think
to the
so.
story now. They tell me this is about 2 young girls, ages, and we had no children at the time. We weren't even married at the time. This was just me being myself. And I'm like shocked. I'm like, this is about an 8 and 10-year-old girl who were molested by their stepfather, their 60-year-old stepfather. He's the defendant. So that's what this hoopla was all about. That's why they went through this whole thing all day to make sure they get the right jurors. All right, now we're in place, and I got to move quick with the story. It's an 8-day, business day trial. And the state brings in all these key experts, and I'm not going to be too graphic here, but just imagine a little 8-year-old girl who's never been, this is a family channel, never been molested, and they show you graphic images of prior to a girl ever being molested, let's say, and then after. It's physical evidence. It's there, and a girl at that age does not do that to herself. So we're going on with the trial, and then they bring in psychiatrists and who've spoken to the girls. Then it goes as far as the girls took the stand themselves. At the time they were like 10 and 12, because it happened like 2 years prior for 2 straight years, the molestations of these girls, the rapes. And then the defense, you know what their defense was? And this is going on, remember, 8 days. You know what he says? He goes, the defense attorney, he was very good, the defense attorney. He was pretty articulate. He was a sharp guy. Well, my defendant here, he was guilty of fondling the girls. You know, that was like his little plea bargain type of thing to us, the jury. And the defendant, I remember looking at him right now, like yesterday. This was around 2002 or so. And he's just looking at me like, yes. And he gave me the thumbs up a few times during the week. Like, this guy's a creep. I can tell he's guilty from day one. But the defense attorney was good, and he made up this huge defense playing up on, he just used baby oil to rub the girls' backs so he could get his jollies, if you know what I'm saying. And that was it. He's claiming he didn't ever have any type of physical interaction with the girls except with his hands on their backs. So now, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, after 8 days, this guy is so guilty. And by the way, when you're a juror, you can't speak to the other jurors during breaks, during lunch. You can talk, you can speak to them, but not about the trial. But you can't speak about the trial at all. But you can speak about baseball games, football. So I was just like, chomping at the bits. I can't wait till this whole thing's over so we can all just deliberate and just get this over with and go home. It's just so obvious this guy's black and white, just, he's guilty. Well, now we get to the end of the trial, 3 p.m., 8 days later, 8 business days later, who knows? Who knew that this was going to happen? But it turned out to be one of the turning points in my life, because I didn't know that I would personally be responsible for changing so many things in people's lives here. Let me tell you what happens. We go into deliberation, and finally we can all talk about the trial. So I'm like, all right, it's 3 o'clock, we can be out of here by 3:30, all right? This is what the judge handed us as the jurors. Okay, you got this like a ballot type thing. A, B, C, D. These are the different charges against the defendant. A, being the worst. Full molestation, full premeditated, multiple times over years and years and years. B, a lesser charge. C, a lesser charge. D, meaning he just fondled them like the defense implied and just never physically hurt them except giving them back rubs to get his own jollies. Well, I was sitting there, we finally all talk about it. 4 of us agreed, like A, B. I'm A. I'm like, this guy's 100% guilty. A couple of them were like, well, maybe B, maybe a lower level. I'm not sure if, because he took the stand himself, the defendant. Even the girls took the stand. I mean, they swore under oath. This is what happened to them. It was so obvious. Now you got to convince, I learned a lot from this. You got to convince 6 people? I mean, it's so obvious. 2 of them said D. They would have been out of jail in 90 days. And I'm like, oh well, I don't think so. I am not leaving this deliberation. We sat there for 3 days. I was adamant. The judge was getting upset with me because I had, as a foreman, I had to keep reporting. We don't have a verdict yet. We don't have a verdict yet. And she was like pushing for a hung jury. If you guys can't figure it out, figure it out. The judge. I'm like, I'm going to get this done. Right? Remember that night we went to Chili's after this whole thing was over? Yes?
Yes, of course.
And we spoke about it in detail. It was the most proudest moment of my life. Let me tell you what I did. I convinced those 2 people who wanted to vote D to go to A. I said, remember day 1, remember this evidence. We didn't write everything down. We were just sitting there, as jurors listening to everything. I said, remember this evidence. Remember this expert evidence. Remember this, remember that. Oh yeah, but I just kind of want to go home. Let's just make it easy. No, we're not just going to go home. I'm not going to let this child molester go hit the streets again and do it to someone else. I convinced those 2 from either a hung jury or convincing everyone else to just go like a level D or C and let the guy get out of jail in 3 to 6, 9 months to go to level A. And which was 100%, the guy got life in prison. He was like 60 years old. He got like 40 years. So he got life in prison. And I convinced him. And it took 3 days. So now, imagine myself, I'm wearing my suit, I'm feeling good, I'm buffed out. And I finally come to the judge and say, we have a verdict. And, okay, everyone please be seated. Now the girl's family, the little girls, have like 50, 60 people in the courtroom in the back right. I can remember it like yesterday. It wasn't that long ago, like I said. Plus the media's there. Flash bulbs are going, camcorders are recording. Everything's going on. The defendant had maybe 8, 9 people at the most on his side. A creep. And I had to stand up and I had to hand the piece of paper. All of us signed off. Level A, the highest possible charge the state can give against this creep. We all finally agreed. I got him to agree. Now, and then it was just after all that time, the court girl, she stands up and she reads it. And she goes, this is the verdict, and she just reads it. On this count, level A. On this count, level A. It was like 8 counts. Everything across the board. I convinced those 2 people on the jury it's level A. Now imagine me, I'm the only one standing because I was the foreman and everyone else is sitting and I'm like, and all of a sudden the room turned like a I'm standing in a white puff cloud. I got dizzy, I got nauseous. It was almost like walking down the aisle when we got married. It was one of the oddest feelings in my life because it was a feeling of elation. The room breaks out, the back right breaks out in applause, all the girls' family. And I looked back in the corner of the Creeps family and they were like this, whatever. I looked at the defendant and his head was down. Now here's where the story really was amazing. That's it, your job's over, you're done. I'm walking out of the courtroom and everyone's clapping and I'm walking through a white cloud. It was like I was walking on water and through a white cloud, my mind was fogged. I was trying to think of how to even get to my car. I couldn't even focus because that powerful experience of the applause and the media and the flashbulbs. I just wanted to get to my car and it's over with now. And listen to this, as I get through about 100 people, everyone, I'm walking out of the courtroom and there's a bench there. The last two doors to open after everything, security and all that, there's a bench and the two girls who were molested were sitting there all dolled up in their little dress. These two little girls, all 50 pounds of them, they happened to be there. And they went like this. Because they kind of knew, after all that time, they kind of knew I was the one who persuaded that verdict. And they looked at me and I went, and it was so small, and I got on my knee. I said, yes, young girls. And they said, 2 words, thank you. And the mother was sitting next to him and she looked at me with tears in her eyes. I said, it's going to be okay, girls. Your life's going to be okay now. And that was it. I left the courtroom and it was absolutely one of the most amazing feelings I've had in my life. The question to you is, should you answer your jury duty card, yes or no? The answer is yes. You never know what you can do to change lives. I know it's a hassle, I know it's a pain in the neck. This is not about a debate on how the court system is. I don't want to see comments on how the DAs are bad and that the court systems are bad. We know there's problems there. This is about our duty as Americans or across the world and how your laws are. Should you report to jury duty? I say yes. Because I think, honestly, if I wasn't on that jury, I know it. If I wasn't on that jury, that child molester would be out on the loose right now. All right, tomorrow we're going to get back to this cold steel blade. And we're going to chop up some wood. This is a firearm channel. This is a weapons channel. We'll get back to talking about this rifle. Like I said, I don't think I've shown it to you. Give me your input on any experiences you've had with jury duty. Hopefully it was a positive one. There's probably a lot of negative ones. But I hope this story compels you and influences you to show up and do your duty as an American citizen, as part of society. Show up proudly, and if you get chosen, you do the right thing. All right, tomorrow night we'll talk about blades. Check it out.